each gaseous ring which were there here, like we have a sun for example, and these concentric rings, or let's say concentric gases which were there. Now these gradually cool, and as they cool, as they condense, this resulted into the small planetesimals, means small irregular shape of bodies were formed, and these bodies we are referring here as the planetesimals. Now among these planetesimals there was further accretion, and as a result of further accretion, what happened? Collision, and these planetesimals were bind towards each other. As a result of this, these planetesimals were keep on growing, and as a result of keep on growing, they ultimately transformed in terms of protoplanets, and protoplanets keep on grew, and that led to the formation of planets. This is how the planets were actually being formed as per the Laplace Nebular Hypothesis. There are some sort of similarities as that of the Kant's hypothesis. For example, this accretion. For example, this small planetesimals which were formed. Small planetesimals which were formed due to the accretion. They becomes what? Bigger, and they are being known as protoplanets. And these protoplanets were further become more and more, or let's say they becomes wider and wider in terms of their circumference. Ultimately, becomes what? Planets. So this is how we have a origin of our solar system, and we have a origin of our Earth as well. Now this is the crux here. You can see entire crux of this nebular hypothesis theory. There was a hot rotating nebula first, and this nebula was actually being comprised of dust, was actually being comprised of gases. As the dust particles were there, there was a self-gravity. Because of the self-gravity, there was a contraction, and there was a contraction in order to maintain the angular momentum. There was a disc shape which was appeared, and it was started to spin up. As the result of spinning, there was a concentric rings which were there because of the instability or inequilibrium in terms of centrifugal force with that of gravity. As a result of this, concentric rings were actually coming out from the core part. They becomes cooled, they become condensed, and these planets formed with the central condensation, and sun was formed at the center. Sun was at the center, and the rest of the planets were formed around the sun. So this is what the crux of Laplace Nebular Hypothesis. Though this is refinement of the Kant theory, but it also have some sort of limit. First of all, that what led to the ring detachment? There is inadequate explanation of that. Yes, there was some sort of contraction, and there was hypothetically inequilibrium in terms of the centrifugal force, but what actually led to the keep on shedding of the concentric layer? So ring detachment is inadequately explained. It is not adequately explained with the proper evidences as well. Condensation. Now here in this particular theory, you might have seen a one term, that is condensation, and this condensation is actually being taken as a reference or assumption in this theory. So the condensation problem is again a kind of limitation of this theory. Similarly, angular momentum paradox, same as that of Immanuel Kant. Planet composition mismatch. Now as per this theory, used to say that the gaseous lumps which were there, they becomes cool, they become solidified, and the planets were there. So in technicality, if we see our modern solar system, so we have a rocky planets, and we also have a gaseous planets as well. So this theory advocate that there is some sort of rocky particles, but this theory could not justify that how there could be a gaseous planets which are there, especially those are being known as the outer planets of our solar system. So this theory have some sort of mismatch in terms of the composition of planets, which were not actually addressed by this theory. This theory used to say that all planets are rocky basically. Okay, so planet composition is actually mismatch. for the limitation. It is not justified by this particular theory. Same with that of Immanuel Kant theory. This theory also ignored the role of external forces like magnetism or nearby stars or any rare cosmic events which could happen. Yes, this is also based on some sort of assumption, is as same that of Immanuel Kant, but yes, there is. So this is all about with Laplace.